there's a strange place millions of people spend their lives. Not success. Not failure. Something in between. A place where dreams are never abandoned, but they're never pursued either. It's the world of almost writing the book. Almost starting the business. Almost getting healthy. Almost becoming confident. Almost changing. At first glance, it doesn't seem dangerous. After all, you're still thinking about your goals. You still imagine a better future. You still tell yourself that one day, everything will click. But here's the truth. Almost is one of the safest prisons ever built. Because unlike failure, it doesn't hurt enough to force you to change. Failure is obvious. You know when you've failed. You feel it. You confront it. You learn from it. But almost whispers comforting lies. It isn't the right time. You'll start next week. You just need a little more preparation. After this busy month. Once life settles down. The calendar changes. The excuses evolve. But your life stays exactly where it is. And years pass without a single dramatic event. No explosion. No collapse. Just tiny delays, stacked on top of one another. Until one day you wake up wondering where the time went. The frightening part isn't that life changes overnight. It's that it changes so slowly, you rarely notice it's happening. Every day feels almost identical. The same routine. The same conversations. The same promises. The same unfinished plans. Nothing seems significant. But life isn't built by significant moments. It's built by repeated ordinary ones. Every morning you postpone. Every evening you tell yourself tomorrow. Every opportunity you quietly ignore. They're small. Almost invisible. Yet together, they quietly become your future. Most people imagine regret as something dramatic. Standing at the end of life wishing they'd taken more risks. But regret usually arrives much earlier. It arrives the moment you realize, you've become comfortable with waiting. Waiting feels productive. It feels responsible. It feels intelligent. After all, you're researching, planning, learning, preparing, thinking. But preparation without execution slowly transforms into procrastination wearing a disguise. The human mind is incredibly good at confusing movement with progress. Watching motivational videos. Buying books. Making detailed plans. Creating schedules. Learning another strategy. It feels like growth. But knowledge alone changes nothing. A library is full of information. Yet the books never improve themselves. Only action creates momentum. Momentum is fascinating. Most people believe motivation creates action. But more often, action creates motivation. Think about the last time you cleaned your room. Before you started, you probably didn't feel excited. You simply began. Then something interesting happened. The more you accomplished, the more energy you had. Progress produced enthusiasm, not the other way around. Your brain is constantly waiting for evidence, not promises. Evidence. When you keep saying you'll change tomorrow, your brain quietly stops believing you. Not because it's against you, because it's learning from repetition. Eventually, that belief becomes part of your identity. Not because you're incapable. That's why confidence cannot be built with affirmations alone. Tiny pieces of proof collected over time. You said you'd finish the workout, and you did. You said you'd make the difficult phone call, and you did. Every completed promise sends a message. Self-trust isn't given quietly. Most people are waiting to become fearless before they begin. Fear is often evidence that something matters. You hesitate. You analyze. Then finally, you jump. The anticipation was worse than reality. Your imagination often exaggerates discomfort. It magnifies embarrassment. It forecasts failure. You remain exactly where you are. Comfort is strange. But there are two kinds of comfort. One gives you peace. The other steals your future. The first comes after effort. The second replaces effort. One restores you. The other slowly weakens you. The tragedy is, the dangerous comfort feels harmless today. Its cost is only visible years later. There's another illusion people rarely notice. They think massive changes require massive decisions. They picture dramatic transformations. Quitting jobs overnight. Completely reinventing themselves. Changing everything at once. Reality is much quieter. Lives rarely change through giant moments. They change through repeated small choices that nobody applauds. One chapter read. One uncomfortable conversation. One morning walked instead of slept through. One application submitted. One idea shared. One excuse ignored. Nobody celebrates these moments. Yet they're the moments that build extraordinary lives. The world loves visible success. But invisible progress creates visible success. What you repeatedly do when nobody notices, eventually becomes impossible for everyone to ignore. The greatest opportunities often arrive disguised as ordinary days. Not because the day is special, but because you finally decide to act differently. Imagine if every day this year, instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing?" you asked, "What kind of person would do this anyway?" That single shift changes everything. Because feelings fluctuate. Identity guides behavior. Not the identity you dream about. The identity you practice. Every action casts a vote. Every decision becomes evidence. Every repetition strengthens a pattern. You don't suddenly become courageous. You collect courageous moments. You don't suddenly become disciplined. You collect disciplined decisions. You don't suddenly become confident. You collect promises kept. The version of you that you admire isn't separated by talent. It's separated by accumulated evidence. Thousands of tiny moments. Invisible choices. Quiet victories. There's something freeing about this realization. You don't have to transform your entire life today. You don't need the perfect plan. You don't need certainty. You don't even need confidence. You only need to stop living in almost. Almost doesn't ask for huge sacrifices. It only asks for one more delay. One more excuse. One more tomorrow. And tomorrow has ended more dreams than yesterday ever could. Imagine meeting yourself 10 years from now. Not the ideal version. The inevitable version created by your current habits. Would they thank you? Or quietly wonder why you kept waiting? Because waiting feels temporary. Until it becomes permanent. No one accidentally builds an extraordinary life. But many people accidentally build an ordinary one. Not through bad decisions. Through delayed decisions. Not through failure. Through hesitation. Not through giving up. Through never fully beginning. The truth is, there will never be a day when everything feels perfectly aligned. Life will always be busy. You will always have doubts. You will always feel unprepared in some way. The perfect moment isn't coming. It was never coming. The people you admire didn't discover perfect timing. They stopped demanding it. They learned to move before certainty arrived. To begin before confidence appeared. To act while fear still existed. That's the hidden difference. Not talent. Not intelligence. Not luck. Movement. While everyone else remained in almost. So today, don't ask yourself whether you're ready. Ask yourself a better question. How much longer are you willing to stay almost? Because the distance between the life you imagine and the life you live is rarely measured in years. It's measured in decisions. One decision. Repeated again tomorrow. And the day after that. Until almost quietly disappears. And your real life finally begins.